Functional roles in onboarding. Many times when creating your onboarding process, there is a need to assign tasks to users outside of the 4 ownership roles delivered in Taleo. Those 4 ownership roles are recruiter, recruiter assistant, hiring manager, and hiring manager assistant. In these cases, you can create functional roles that can be assigned in your onboarding process. Examples of when a functional role might be needed. IT. When you want to involve your IT group in the process, you can create a functional role with those IT users. The functional role can be set up to assign to all users in the group, or each user can be contextualized by your OLF. Another example is an HR generalist. Maybe you want to send a notification to your HR generalist, updating them on the onboarding process for the new hire. You can create a functional role to assign the appropriate HR generalist to the task. Note, anybody placed in a functional role will need to be a user set up in your Taleo instance. Those users who will strictly be assigned in onboarding can be assigned an onboarding-only role. Therefore, they only have access to perform onboarding tasks as assigned. In this video, you will learn how to create a functional role in Taleo, how to create a functional role with the users contextualized, and how to assign a step in your process to the functional role. Here, I'm in the configuration area of the Taleo admin. I'm going to select functional roles. In this area, I have all of my functional roles that I have created. I'm going to select Create to build a new functional role. I'm going to give it a code. And a name. I also have to give a default assignee for this functional role. Usually, the default assignee is your system administrator. This default assignee will be assigned to the task if the users in your functional role are no longer valid. So what that means is maybe those users their accounts have been deactivated, or somehow their permissions have been changed where they no longer have the appropriate access. Since the system can't assign that individual to the task, it will then default to your default assignee. That's a heads up to your system administrator that they need to go and visit that functional role. I'm going to select Save. Now I'm able to add my assignees to my functional role. I'm going to select Create and add my first assignee. I'm going to add Kelly and select Save. The system is then going to present to me the OLF contextualization screen. If I want to contextualize Kelly's access, I will update here. Otherwise, I'm going to go using my breadcrumb trails back to my functional role. Next, I'm going to add Paula to my functional role. Again, once I hit Save, I'm going to be able to add my OLF contextualization if applicable. I'm going to use my breadcrumb trail and go back to my functional role. Based on the way my functional role is set up today, if I was to add this functional role to a step in my onboarding process, both Kelly and Paula would get assigned to that task because there's no contextualization assigned to either user. So what this means is when the task executes, both Kelly and Paula will be assigned. Whoever completes the task first will own that task, and the other will no longer have access to complete that task. Now, let's say I want to add contextualization to my functional role. Let's select Kelly first. Let's say Kelly is going to be in charge when the location is set to United States. So in my location structure, I'm going to look up United States and select. I'm going to go back to my functional role, and let's say Paula is responsible for Canada. So I'm going to look up Canada in my location structure and assign Canada to Paula. Now, when this functional role gets assigned, if the location on the requisition is United States, Kelly will get assigned the task. If the location on the requisition is Canada, then Paula will be assigned the task. Once I have my users assigned to my functional role, I can then activate it. You are able to update users in your functional role whenever you need. You don't have to put the zone in maintenance mode. You don't have to do anything with your process. From that point forward, any changes will take place, but you can update your functional roles whenever needed. You can also use Taleo Connect Client to make updates to your functional role. Taleo Connect Client can add users to your functional role as well as deactivate or delete users from your functional role. Next, let's go to our onboarding process and assign a task to our functional role. I'm going to go back to configuration. Under onboarding, I'm going to select administration, and I'm going to go to my processes. Once my process comes up, I'm going to select the appropriate process that I want to update. I'm going to then select the step that I want to assign to this functional role. So let's say we want to assign the fill out IT request form. I'm going to select that step. I'm going to edit the properties. Any functional role that you have created will be displayed under your assignee's role option. So if I select role here, I'm going to see my new functional role that we created. Here it is, Latoya, HR Generalist. Select Finish. And now my functional role is assigned to this step in my process, which means that whenever this step gets assigned, then it will invoke my functional role. Remember that we contextualized our users, so whenever the requisition is United States, it will go to one user, versus when the location is Canada, it will go to the other user. Thank you.